Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hi guys. This is a continuation of the last episode regarding the truth and how Quranically at least, and with many scriptures that I've come across, they refer to the truth as a projected or shattering or hurled or thrown reality that shatters falsehood to oblivion. So when we say things like the truth hurts, that's no exaggeration. It not only hurts if we embrace it fully, if we live according to the truth, then we are different, completely different versions of ourselves than what we were before. And I have come across through a number of lectures that I have had the privilege to attend and be a part of hearing a lot of old and ancient civilizations talk about the obliteration of self. And I think what they mean there is a self-image, a mental created image that we have built for ourselves. We have constructed that. So for me, for example, it could be I've built I've built an image about me being a martial artist, for example, of a particular style, or me being a writer, me being a poet, me being a speaker, me being whatever image. You could have a banker, a doctor, a lawyer, an image that you've constructed and obviously lived according to that construct. You've gone to university, you've got the qualifications, you've got the job, and your reality in your mind is that you are this thing. But the truth really doesn't care about what you've done, what you've studied, who you think you are. The truth will give you an experience that will remind you that you are not just that thing, or maybe not that thing at all. And that's when you have a choice of letting what you thought you were go and following the truth with where it leads you. And very often, like I said, I think before, when the truth comes in and shatters something, it's a mess. You got pieces of you all over the floor. You're bleeding. You've been obliterated, and this could come from an accident, somebody splitting up with you, losing someone, losing a job, and then you're stuck with this shock. If I'm not this employee that does these things, what am I? If I'm not a martial artist that does this particular style, then what the hell am I? It's complete destruction. And if we're brave enough to accept that the truth has just done something that we cannot deny, it's either we deny that and just suffer. We've just been obliterated, and if we just deny what's happened, we will just suffer endlessly. But if we're brave enough to follow the truth into an area, we have no idea where we'll end up at all, because you've never been in that situation before. You don't know how far it is, how close. You're in no man's land. Literally, physically, you're in no man's land. But if we're brave enough to trust the truth, and most of us don't because it's scary, but if we're able to trust the truth, I believe, or I feel, based on my experience, we look at the parts of us that are shattered, the pieces of us that are scattered, broken, crumbled. If we look at them and pick up a piece here, pick up a piece there, it weaves, a pattern emerges that takes us into a direction that we never would have taken before. And that pattern, that guide, that path leads us somewhere where we are better. We are a better version of ourselves, because we didn't stay shattered. We decided to accept the shattering and say, okay, I'm shattered. I don't know who the hell I am. I know I'm not what I was because I'm all over the place. So let me find out what I could be now by picking up these pieces of you and going with that somewhere better. And I think when we do that, we do get to somewhere better. And I think the shattering, and this is an important point for me, and I hope for you, inshallah, this shattering of this obliteration of ourselves is actually a gift. It's a divine, beautiful gift. You ever wonder why bad things happen to good people? I'm going to say that one more time. Have you ever noticed how really bad things happen to really good people? And certain bad people don't have those bad things happen to them. It's almost, if you think of it logically, the good are being punished for being good, and the bad are being rewarded for being bad. Does it feel that way? I can definitely see how it does. But that's just surface. That's just really, really surface. What if what we refer to as the bad things that happen to good people is actually the truth? It's a gift. It's a shattering. Remember, this is a truth that is hurled, projected, attacked you, and found its target to the T, and you are shattered. You are obliterated. So you can pick up the pieces that were inside you, the diamonds and jewels that were inside you that had to be cracked open. You had to be cracked open for this to seep out, for you to see what was inside, the outside, the construction that you have outside from your limited conscious mind, which is only a very small percentage of what you have. That had to be shattered. So when we are shattered, when life pummels us into a powder, what if we looked at that and said, okay, I cannot deny this truth. I cannot deny this accident. If it is such a thing, I cannot deny this reality. So let me do the best with it. Let me follow it. Let me go into it. Let me be very, very brave and go and accept it. Accept the truth. And the truth by its nature, as I was explaining, at least Quranically from my understanding, and a number of other scriptures say the same thing. It's painful. The truth is painful. But if we look at it, if we look through the pain and accept that shattering and live with the truth as opposed to against it, we become another version of ourselves that is wiser, stronger, more informed, and more sensitive to the truth. And that makes our life and everybody connected better. And I know it's very counterintuitive. So if you're going through a rough patch now and you really do feel shattered, well, I know this sounds pretty weird, but congratulations. Congratulations, you have been selected to be awoken. You have been selected to become a better version of yourself. And I'm sorry to tell you this, but arguably, there isn't any other way. There isn't any other way apart from the truth obliterating you for you to become better. And what appears as a curse is actually a blessing if you have faith, if you have faith in that. Then you have a group of people that understand that. Maybe they've gone through this obliteration a number of times. Or maybe they're just super wise, born that way. I don't know. But I do know, or have heard of, people that intentionally seek that self-obliteration. Let me say it again. These people, there are people that function, live, breathe amongst us, that are able to intentionally obliterate themselves. By that I mean they destroy any social construct, any outside image that their ego wants to hold on to. They have the ability to shatter that. Kind of, let me see if I can give you an example from my world somehow. So let's just say, okay, no, I've got a good example from our world, not just my world. If you guys look at the history of how Rumi became the poet that we know as Rumi, that's a good example. I'm getting excited now to tell you this. Some of you know this, so please be patient. Some of you may not. So before Rumi was this magnificent poet, he was a very formally trained, learned Islamic scholar from a history where his family were very much the same. And his social construct, his social capital was based on him being a very senior, respected Islamic scholar, an expert at the law, what is permitted, what is not permitted, and that's pretty much it. Then when he met Shams, everything changed. He gave everything up. He gave up the position of clergy, or the position of high Islamic authority, and became this whirling, twirling, free-spirited poet. And legend says, or history says, his sons and families were completely disappointed and very, very angry and upset. They had a father who was very much respected in society as a senior religious individual, and now this guy is talking about love and talking about things that are arguably borderline against law. That's a great example, I think, for me, of self-obliteration. A person that just was exposed to the truth, and the truth can be a word. The truth can be a word you hear, something that you see. The truth can be a look, and you will feel it, and that look will obliterate you if you allow it. The truth can come in many forms, and it comes from a true God, a true source. I invite you to see where the truth is coming up in your life. To see where something that you know is something painful, more than likely, something you don't want to see. I invite you to be brave, and I invite you to see it closely. If it's something that you don't want to hear, and you just know it's there, or you heard it, but you just let it go. But you heard it, and you cannot deny that your ears heard it, or felt it, or something in your body, a truth that you feel that you deny. I invite you to look into that. We live in a world that is so false. We are drenched with false things, false images, and the only person that can set you free is yourself. And the truth is a guide. But don't forget, as I was saying, the truth hurts, and that's an understatement. It shatters, it obliterates, but it obliterates for a very specific reason. If we are brave enough to look into it. So that's my time, coming up to a few seconds before the dead end. I hope you got something out of that. All the best. See you soon.